राम राम हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे,
राम राम हरे हरे,
राम हरे हरे,
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे,
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे,
ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः, ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः, ओम श्री गुरुदेवाय नमः, ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी हरि ओम. Okay, let me welcome all of you to this evening of gems from Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in Bhagavad Gita, everything is a gem, you know that. But some years ago, Puja Guruji made a wonderful selection of about 70 or so phrases from Bhagavad Gita. And from those phrases today, I have just selected maybe about 6 of them for reflection. And in this world, people reflect on all sorts of things. Some people are reflecting on elections and COVID and when we'll be able to go back to restaurants, and people reflect on all sorts of things. That is how the world is. Really, reflection should be done on Bhagavad Gita. We were saying last week or the week before, a very wonderful text, which is called as Laghu Vakya Vritti. And from that text, our Vidyaranya Swamiji had copied a nice verse which said, Tat Kathanam, Tat Chintanam, Anyonyam Tat Prabodhanam. That we should reflect on that thing, talk about that, and educate others, inform others about that. That means what? That higher reality. So the real thing to reflect on is higher reality. So here, the higher reality is spoken about in Bhagavad Gita, and its approach and what qualities we have to imbibe and all such things to reach that higher reality. So we should be reflecting on these type of verses. Okay. Now, the first phrase which I have chosen here comes from the 5th chapter in a very famous verse which said that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichayva Shapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So the phrase is Pandita Samadarshinaha. That the wise person, Pandit, is Samadarshi. Samadarshi. Samadarshi means one who has an equal eye towards all beings and things. This phrase will come a little bit later on in one of the other selected lines also. And the operative word in both the phrases is Sama. As Samatvam is a big topic in Bhagavad Gita. I spoke about this before and I keep reiterating. A Sama word, 2 letters. Sama. If studied well, then the essence of Bhagavad Gita is really caught. I see all problems which are going on today everywhere in the world is because this word is totally absent from people's psyche. Seeing all things with an equal eye. I'll just give you an example. See, here in this country also, recently we had problems of people from the 2 ethnic groups throwing words at each other, right? So in other words, one group feels that it is better than the other group and vice versa. That Samabuddhi is missing, you see. Samabuddhi means an equal eye, seeing that all are equal on the same footing and all. That is totally absent. Everywhere you go, this type of problem is there. So either it is with race, or it is with religion, or it is with class, or caste, or something. People, I told we need something to ride on to make a vehicle for carrying our one-sidedness. So we carry it on so many things. So he says, Pandita, a wise person, is one who has this eye of equality for all things. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, I told that there are three main areas in which we are supposed to maintain samatvam. Samatvam with regard to other beings. That will come up in Samabuddhir Vishishyate just now. Samatvam with regard to all beings. Then samatvam with regard to all situations in life. In that regard, samatvam is to be taken to mean balance, equipoise, equilibrium. Sukha dukhe same kritva lava lava jaya jayo, he says. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram. In different places, this sama, that the person should maintain balance in joy and sorrow, gain and loss, in victory and defeat and all. So these are situations in life. So all the different situations and circumstances which we encounter as we proceed with our life, we are supposed to maintain that balance. That is called as samatvam there. So with regard to situations and all. Equipoise, Gurudev used to say. An equipoise. Equanimous mind. A balanced mind. A mind that is not swayed here and there. That's like a judge in a court. The judge has to listen to prosecution and listen to defense. But the judge cannot let his mind get swayed by this side or that side. The judge has to be totally objective and look for truth, not emotions on this side, or who shouts more, or those type of things, or who is more influential, who is more famous. Those type of things should not influence the mind of a judge. In the very same way, as we proceed with life, we should not let all circumstances and things outside influence our mind. Look for peace, equanimity, and all that sort of thing. That is the idea. So, Pandita Samadarshinaha, the Pandita is the one who has this equal eye and equanimity and all that. And this Pandit word is a very famous word in Trinidad. And this Pandit word comes several times in Nanu Shochanti Panditaha. In the second chapter, as Bhagavan begins his discourse, he uses this word again. Bhagavan begins his discourse in second chapter. Ashocyanan vachochastvam prajnavadancha bhashase ityadi, like that. And there he uses this, he says, qualities of a Pandit. Here we are saying Samadarshina, he sees with an equal eye. There he doesn't weep, like that. Pandit, Panda asya asti iti, Pandit, one who has wisdom. It's called as Pandit. So that person has to keep a balanced, equanimous mind. That is the idea in this first phrase. Pandita Samadarshina comes in the 5th chapter. So those of you who are looking in your Bhagavad Gita, I don't know, 518 or something, maybe somewhere there. It is there? 518. It is there on your screen. Okay. I'm not so good with numbers. I can approximate the chapters, but in numbers is very difficult now. All right. Now, the next phrase says, Suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva shanti mrichati. This is the last verse of the same 5th chapter. Last as maybe number 28, I think so. So, Suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam. Knowing nyatva mam means having known me. Having known me. Who me? Me here refers to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, mam. Having known me. Having known me as what? Suhridam sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhutanam word comes again throughout Bhagavad Gita. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. Maitra karuna evacha. Here, suhridam sarvabhutanam. Let us sarvabhutanam. You see, I'll tell you why. The Bhagavad Gita is a text not for Hindus or this group or that group or, poor people or rich people or anything. Bhagavad Gita is a text for all people. And therefore, whenever Bhagavan is speaking, he keeps on using this word sarva bhuta, and bhuta in Sanskrit, sarva means all, bhuta means being. A bhuta is a being. Being means human being, any other living creature, bhuta. In fact, if you really see the import of that word bhuta, anything which is, bhu means to be in Sanskrit, anything which is, which exists. And therefore the Hindus have always had a reverence for everything, animate, inanimate as well, because bhuta word comes from bhu, means to be, to exist. And here he says suhridam sarva bhutanam, who is a friend and a well-wisher of all beings, all things. And when the word all things is taken into consideration, we realize that trees are worshipable, rivers are worshipable, stones are worshipable, the earth is worshipable. And now, after long years of so-called civilization, human beings are beginning to realize that rivers are alive, the earth is alive, all of Prakriti, nature is alive. It's a whole big living organism. And so if we don't take care of the Prakriti, and we don't take care of the nature and the rivers and the forests, we don't take care of things, we destroy ourselves, because we are part and parcel of one big living organism. So Sarva Bhutanam word is a very, very significant word and sits throughout this Bhagavad Gita, making a clarion call to all Hindus and all people of the world. You please pay attention. You have to have reverence. See, you cannot have reverence for people of your religion, people of your color, people of your ethnicity, people of your country. One has to have reverence and friendliness and kindness and compassion towards all things and beings, including our rivers and trees and mountains and everything. You see, this is Sarva Bhutanam. So when we take the word Sarva Bhutanam to be extended to all things that exist. Otherwise, the word is usually, by most commentators, restricted to all living things. Still, if you restrict it to all living things, I just told you the earth is alive. Have you heard people saying that this river is dead? I think most of our rivers are dead because we have killed them. We have thrown all sorts of... Today only I was looking at 1 minute of a documentary. Not 1 minute, let me tell it, maybe 5 minutes. Because I saw that documentary while I was eating, so I take about 5 minutes to eat. So that much I saw. And it was explaining how in China, how they are now mining for all these rare metals, and how all the rivers downstream is now filled with mercury and all sort of... Mercury is such a deadly thing. It'll kill anything. How the river will stay alive? Like that, I mean. So you see, we go on, and please remember, if we say that thing is happening in China, and you are living here, and you are not responsible for it, you are also responsible. Please pay attention to that. You are also responsible for that river being dead in China. Why? Because the world is one big now global economy, and you are the consumer here. When there is a demand here, there is a supply there. So if you are demanding something, well, they will supply, and in order to supply, they have to mine the earth, take out all the rare metals, and kill all the rivers, and so you are part of it. This is the idea. Now, why Suhridam? Suhridam means a friend, a well-wisher, one who has love for, one who considers, or like that. Suhridam. Suhridam means good-hearted. Hrida means heart. And Suhridam means extremely good-hearted. So, the one who knows Bhagwan, Bhagwan Shri Krishna said, Mam, me, Nyatva Mam, knowing me to be Suhridam, the well-wisher and friend to all beings and things in this world. He says that person Shanti Mrichati. That person will reach the state of absolute Shanti, peace. Now, what exactly say? That this is not just to sit in my room and say, oh, Bhagwan is so nice. He is friend of all. And then I'll attain supreme peace. That is not the meaning. Huh? That I'll just sit there. I accept. Bhagwan is a friend of all. But I understand. But where is my peace? Peace did not come. I'm still in pieces. So, this Jnatva word has to be understood. Huh? That there, now see, just go one step deeper now in the verse. Jnatva mam. Jnatva. Now see, when Bhagwan says he's a friend and well-wisher of all beings, what does a friend do? Well, a friend shows to the other person love, gives support. The friend tells a good word. Whenever that person is in trouble or problem, that friend supports, isn't it? Otherwise, a friend in need is a friend indeed. One fellow went to borrow money from his friend. He said, have you heard this saying? A friend in need is a friend indeed. That fellow said, yes, stranger, I heard that saying. What is your problem? But that he is no friend, When Bhagavan Shri Ram describes friendship when he makes a treaty with Sugriv in Ramayana, Kishkinda Kand. So here he explains friend. So you'll see the basis really of friendship is one who can support the other one. Love and support, those two things. So here, when we know Bhagwan as the friend, it means Bhagwan supports and loves all equally. That is why Bhagwan still supports even the vilest of criminal in the jail. You see, he supports all equally. So he's Suhridam Sarvabhutam, all beings. He's a supporter and a friend and has love for all beings. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu in 9th chapter. I am equal to all beings. Sarvabhutanam and Sarvabhuteshu is the same word in different case only. One is a 6th case and one is 7th case. So, the Lord has that love for all beings and he supports all beings equally. Suhridam sarvabhutanam. In other words, he doesn't say, oh, my group of people who are living in this part of the world, suddenly they started planting, pushing drugs. Therefore, I will not support them. I have now hatred for these people who support drugs. Bhagwan is supporting all equally. It's me as an individual, I have to say, I don't want drugs. Otherwise, people ask this question, why Bhagwan, so many wrong things are going on. People are killing, murdering, there is all sorts of human trafficking and drug pushing and people injecting themselves with all sorts of deadly chemicals and this and that. So many terrible things are going on in this world. Why Bhagwan just doesn't come and pull the carpet from under their feet? All these evil, wicked people and all things which are going on. Why he doesn't just come and... So, the role of, like the sun. Bhagwan is like the sun. Just think, if over there, some person is going to murder some person, and here, one Pandit is sitting to do puja. Okay. Over there. So the sun doesn't say, okay, that fellow is going to do some wicked thing over there. Let me withdraw my sunlight from him. I'll not give him sunlight. I'll give sunlight to the Pandit. This support which the Lord gives, he gives to all beings and things equally. It is in the freedom of an individual to use that support. It's like I give you $100, you can use the $100 to do so many good things, but you can use the $100 to do so many bad things also. So in this way, Bhagwan is supporting all. We use the support to do bad things and all that, and then we bear the results or the consequences thereby. So understanding that Lord is an equal support for, equal means coming where? Sarvabhutanam. The word, you have to think equality. No being is left out. Same to all. So he's a supporter and a friend and loves all equally, like that. The one who knows the Lord like that, as the one who is supporting all beings and things. In other words, he is a substratum. Now, this is where I told it will have to go deeper. He is a substratum of the universe. He is the one who holds the universe up, supports the whole universe. It is on him, like the canvas. It is on the canvas that the painting is being held. So in that way, he is a friendly support to all beings. And says the person who understands the Bhagavan like that, Shanti Mrichati, he reaches that state of absolute Shanti. And then the next phrase is also, I keep saying very famous, but all of them is famous. Bhagavad Gita is a small text, so all the verses have become very famous. Uddharet atmanat manam, nat manam avasadet. But only one part of that verse is taken from the 6th chapter. Uddharet atmanat manam. Lift. Uddharet atmanat. Lift yourself by yourself. Uddharet atmana atmanam. By the self, means lift oneself by oneself. One should lift oneself by oneself. So there are a few messages in that also, very important messages. One is the first message, of course, which is there on the surface of the whole thing. Very, very simple message. And that is, self-effort is required. And in this world, if we are going to acquire or gain anything, it is only by self-effort. This world is quite often called in our Shastras Karma Bhumi. Karma Bhumi means two things. One is a place where I can perform karma, first thing. And second thing is where I reap the results of my karma. Only here I can reap results, you see. So, Karma Bhumi, this place where I can perform karmas and then reap results of karmas. So now, the verse, the phrase has this first message. What is that? I have to put self-effort if I am going to lift myself. Means nobody else can lift me. That is the idea. I will have to put my own effort. We go on asking others to lift and this and that, but it will not happen. I will have to lift myself by myself. We say, no, Swamiji, touch me na, then I will get mukti. People have all of this type of habit, but and in the 7th chapter, this is coming in 6th chapter. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavan says there that from among thousands and thousands, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, among thousands and thousands of people, one person makes effort. So this is the problem. People don't want to make self-effort. Udyamena hi siddhyanti. Only by self-effort one achieves anything in this world. We say, no. People have all sorts of argumentations. No. Ramiji, look this fellow. He was born in this man's house. He never worked one day in his life. That man worked every day and amassed so much of wealth. This boy was born in that man's house, and he acquired all of this wealth, inherited all of this wealth without working even one single day. So we see many examples like this in the world where that person, without any self-effort, he acquired so much. This is people's argument. This person who has acquired all of this wealth and inherited all of this wealth, he worked for that somewhere, sometime in the past. Otherwise, he'll never get it. Otherwise, you will have to admit that a person can reap the results of karma without having performed karma. In other words, you can reap results with no karma. That will have to be the eventual admission. But that is not possible. You cannot have results without karma, and you cannot have karma without results. Both sides. So if he's born there, it just means that he's worked. And you see people working. There's some people who workaholics are there in the world now. So the result has to come somehow, sometime. So the first message is Uddharet means put self-effort. Now, lift yourself by yourself, if we have to put the phrase like. So the question which arises, this is the second point in the phrase. Question which arises now is, lift yourself from where? I don't want to go up where. I'm fine here. Lift where? Like that. So this is not the literal meaning of the word. You cannot take like that. Bhagavan Bhashyakar says very nicely there, Yaha samsara sagara nimagnam. Who was to lift on? The one who is drowned in this ocean of samsara. The person who is drowned in this ocean of samsara, he has to lift himself by himself out of this ocean of samsara. Bhagavan gives such perfect context to the phrase. Lift from where? Why? I don't want to. People will say that I don't want to lift. Now, this verse usually is interpreted from a very ordinary standpoint, and what the ordinary, from many ordinary standpoints. One is, people say, no, I am in a depressed economic situation, so let me lift myself, upward social mobility. But we have to, even if you take it from that ordinary standpoint, you have to do it by yourself, and nobody is going to lift you. So from a very ordinary standpoint, if you take these verses like this, which they can be, the Bhagavad Gita is like that, you can read it. Bhagavad Gita is like an onion. Onion, it has layers and layers. Peel and peel and peel, and then you peel this layer and peel this layer, and in the end what you get? Nothing. Nothing means what? We go beyond all the layers of our personality, and then there is pure existence, which cannot be grasped by the senses. It is atindriyam, beyond the senses, you see. So at the ordinary level, what I require is, I lift myself from one state of you can use every possible state of the individual, from one economic state of depressed economic state to a higher standard of living, or one lifts oneself from ignorance to knowledge, or from illiteracy to literacy. All this is called lifting. But the idea is, I have to do it by myself. Everything is there in the world. The world is available for the taking. We just have to use our intellect properly and use whatever is there in the world and lift. And in every situation, everybody can. Even I have seen stories where slaves, when they had some hours to sleep in the night, they will even sneak in some literature to learn to read. So a slave, a person under slave conditions, can also lift himself by himself from illiteracy to literacy. You have seen all such movies and all such things. But Bhagavan Bhashyakar, Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his commentary gives the proper context at the highest level for this phrase. Samsara sagarin nimagnam. He who is drowned in this samsara, who is living a life of bondage, that person has to lift himself out of the bondage and into the realm of enlightenment. This is the idea. Uddareda atmanatmanam. And each person has to do it himself. We may take I have to walk I may take a walking stick, but I still have to walk by myself. I take the help of a walking stick. So we take the help of scriptures and gurus and traditions and this and that, but we have to tread this path by ourselves. Then samabuddhir vishishyate. Next phrase. Samabuddhir vishishyate. Word again comes in 6th chapter. Suhrin mitra yudasina madhyastha dveshya bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. This is the samabuddhir vishishyate. This is this 6th chapter verse again. So here I told you before That sama word having an equal I, and here it gives all the different types of people. So samatvam with regard to all the different types of situations. There, samatvam with regard to all the different type of people. So suhrin, mitra, udasi, all are given there. So one who is a friend, and dvesha, bandhushu, one who is hateful. Also, hateful, I think, is the word. Hateable. So an equal I with regard to all of them. You say, these criminals, I don't like them. These drug pushers, I don't like them. But samabuddhi means what? Means to say, we should never think that they should not exist in the world, because first of all, we did not make the world. This is the first thing. I did not make the world. And all the various infinite variety of beings and things, I did not make it. So I should never think they should not be in the world. And when I think that second step now, well, they have an equal right to exist as I have. And based on that now, why should I harbor hate in my mind for them? I should not. Why you are carrying hate, which is a big weight in your heart for other big, and they non-device. I mean, they don't know anything. But you carry. Useless, you see. So, sama buddhir vishishyate, and vishishyate word means the one who has this sama buddhi, he excels, he supersedes, he surpasses everybody. Sama buddhir vishishyate, the one who has sama buddhi, he surpasses all. He is the greatest. That's why the great sages and saints and all, they used to just walk by and all are same. They understand it, right? Because they excel, they superseded everybody. Yeah? Samabuddhir vishishyate. Now, next one. I just selected all in a row. I did not go here and there. 22 to 27 of that list of Puja Guruji. What is the next verse? It says, Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangitam. Dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangitam. Now let me tell you the word meaning of this. Then we will continue. Dukkha samyoga. Dukkha samyoga means our, well, this phrase has a funny side also. Our association and contact with sorrow. Our association and contact with sorrow. Dukkha samyoga. Viyogam. Viyoga means separating. Our contact and association with sorrow. Dukkha. And this is called as yoga. But it's a very, very wonderful definition of yoga. See, yoga in Sanskrit comes from yuj. Yuj means to join, right? Two things. Like that. Join. But he says now, yoga is, here we are and here dukkha. And right now, we are associated, connected, in contact with dukkha. He says that separating oneself from that dukkha is called as yoga. So I don't know how this word yoga has come now in the sense of separation, dissociation. A very good, wonderful thing. So I am here and then this dukkha. So right now we are together. But when I dissociate with dukkha, what happens is, in that dissociation with dukkha, I as the individual jiva associate with the absolute reality. In the dissociation of one, there's an automatic association with the other, and that is where the yoga comes in. Otherwise, you'll ask, what is yoga? Is it means joining? Yuj means to join, and you say dissociation is yoga. Let me tell a nice verse from Vidyaranya Swamiji's work about this dukkha, because dukkha word is dukkha viyoga. Dukkha samyoga viyoga is yoga. Dissociation with dukkha. So Vidyaranya Swamiji there gives that. I'm just going to bring in that verse to explain this phrase because a very tremendous phrase it is. Now see, there Vidyaranya Swamiji describes what is our problem and our bondage, how this jiva is formed and where he has found himself. He says, Advayananda Rupasya Sadvayatvam cha dukkhita Bandha proktaha Swarupena Stitir Muktiritiryate. It means to say, Bandha proktaha, and this is called as bondage. What is called as bondage? Advayananda Rupasya Sadvayatvam cha dukkhita. The absolute non-dual reality, assuming, I said non-dual reality, assuming duality and consequentially sorrow, dukkha. First, that absolute reality, which is non-dual, assuming duality, and the result of this duality, is dukkha. Bandha prokta. This thing called as bandha, bondage. Swarupena sthiti. Iti iryate means staying fixed in one's own nature, which is Advayananda Rupa. Staying fixed in that is mukti. Mukti iti iryate. So, staying fixed as non-dual reality is mukti. So now see, that first line is the operative line for us. It is in non-dual reality, which has assumed duality and consequentially sorrow. Right? That sorrow is our biggest problem. Sorrow is human beings' problem, isn't it? You don't have a second problem, and nobody has a second problem in this world. Sorrow is our problem. Sorrow may have various manifestations, but sorrow is our problem. So now, here, dissociation from that sorrow requires what Vidyaranya Swamiji is telling very nicely in the Panchadashira. He says there, Swarupena Stitir Muktiritiryate, means staying in one's own true nature. So the idea is, when I dissociate with all the sorrows and all the things that cause sorrow, which is duality and all that, and I stay in my own nature. In other words, the jiva who is thinking himself to be finite and so associated with all the limitations and the consequential sorrow, that jiva staying in his own nature, and that is where the yoga comes. It is yoga because the jiva dissociates with finitude and sorrow and stays as himself. So in other words, he finds his own true nature, which is infinite, non-dual. This is the idea, the infinite, non-dual reality. Really speaking, it is not that the jiva has ceased at any time being infinite. He just takes himself to be finite. He's not finite at any time. So if I'm taking myself to be something other than I am, then trouble will start. In ordinary life also, I should always be what I am. When I take myself to be... Can you imagine somebody goes to play a drama on stage, and in that drama, he's a robber, and he's robbing everybody in the drama, and then he gets so taken up with that role, when he comes off stage, now the drama is over and everybody's gone home, this fellow goes on stealing all his neighbors' chickens or whatever. So he gets caught up. This Advayananda Rupa Parabrahma, how has it happened? By its own intrinsic power called Maya, assumes duality. And duality, when we say, it means all the variety of jivas and things and beings in this world, assumes that. And now, when that happens, then that thing which is full, complete, purna, total, infinite, now feels incomplete, finite, minuscule, powerless, and all of these things as a jiva. And that results in sorrow. And that sorrow becomes so embedded that, I tell you, the jiva becomes so enmeshed in all of the things that are going on in this world, that he, in trying to rid himself of sorrow, chooses another path which will lead to sorrow only. He leaves one path because it gives too much sorrow. You please see that, this is the way the world works. He leaves this path thinking it's too much sorrow, and he goes on that path thinking there will be less sorrow. It is not less. Never it is less. And this happens every time. Look here, you just see any little example and you will see. One person thinks, if I leave Trinidad and I go to live in New York, I will be happy. But you know that is not true. He leaves here because sorrow is, I will go there, I will get joy. The headache is more. You jump from the frying pan into the fire. Who told you that when you go to the other part? Because we are just, I used to hear in the village in the old days, I don't know if you have heard this phrase, but this is a Trinidad phrase, so if you're listening from abroad, what use it is to take out khaki pants and put on blue dog pants. So you take out khaki pants, khaki is a type of cloth, and blue dog is another type of cloth. So the pants made from khaki you take out and you put on blue dog. What happened? You became mukta. Nothing happens. So the jiva, who is now this same reality, now taken on finitude, and then from the finitude the consequent sorrow, that jiva, instead of turning the way back to the infinite reality, he goes on changing options right here, from one dukkha to the next. Therefore, in the second line, Vidyarayana Swamiji says, Sarupena Stitir Mukti. One has to forget about what is ahead, that is the source of all sorrow, and stay in one's own self. That staying in one's own self is as though coming back home, and that is why it is yoga. So yoga sangitam, that is called as yoga, and it is dukkha viyoga. It is the relinquishing of all the finite universe and the consequent sorrow of all that finite universe. That is the idea. So dukkha samyoga, my contact with dukkha and my association with all things that are dukkha, to dissociate from all that. And the last one says, and it's a very nice way to end the whole thing, nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. Hey tat, what is missing? Durgatim gacchati. Bhagavan is telling to Arjuna that no little effort, even the smallest effort, goes to waste. Anything that is done in this path of spirituality, kalyana krit, anything that is done in the path of spirituality, even the littlest of things, it doesn't have to be anything big, that thing never goes to waste. It surely bears fruit and brings to us further development. You know that, no? They say in ordinary life, people say poverty breeds poverty and riches breed riches. Have you heard? All these type of things are there. So the little effort that I do on the path of spirituality will push me further to engage in more spirituality, and that result will come and push each time. So every time I engage in anything, any little act of goodness or any little act of spirituality like that, it pushes me further. The results come to push me further. It's a wonderful phrase. Therefore, every opportunity I get to say the name of Ram, every opportunity I get to say the name of Krishna. Subah Sham bolo bande, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Say the name of Krishna. So it's such a small act also. Every time I get the opportunity to give a little dan there, or give a little anything, a good word to somebody. Every act of goodness brings its fruits, and that also pushes us further on that same path of goodness. This is the idea. He's not talking about, and that, of course, that can be applied on the other side, because I told you one thing breeds itself, isn't it? So every evil act breeds more evil. It has to operate the same way on the other side. Every evil act breeds more evil for that person. So, nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim gacchati. It never goes to, another way to say this, how it is usually said is, no good deed ever goes to waste. No good deed ever goes to waste. And wonderful thing about deeds in this world is, it not only has effect on the doer, but deeds in the world also have ripple effect on those who are exposed to those deeds. So it has ripple effect outside in the world also. But the good deed brings good results and pushes that person forward. He keeps going on and on his path of spirituality. Okay, so like this, how many I dealt with? 6. I dealt with 6 phrases today. This list has 70 phrases. Maybe in future and all we can see some more. I have dealt with all of these phrases before. At some time, I don't remember. Maybe Sunday morning satsang or something. But they're wonderful.